From my mini mansion to a real mansion, after a night of zero sleep in a shady parking lot, the Bay Bus is in Valdosta, Georgia, at its most well-known landmark, the Crescent. This type of architecture is called neoclassical and is marked by the sheer grandeur of, well, everything, and the over-the-top use of columns. There are 13 on this palatial porch, symbolic of each of the 13 original colonies. This is the kind of front entrance Babe Caves are made of. It even has a tin-arched ceiling, my favorite thing! I may buy my food and clothes at Walmart, but I expect to come home to something like this. Like any good southern estate, the grounds are perfectly manicured, even a little chapel out back. I was a little disappointed to hear that the columns were hollow. But truthfully, most residential columns are hollow, and to be perfectly honest, my visit to Valdosta in and of itself was also a little disappointing. So let's all just take in a big, deep breath of warm spring breeze, smell the azaleas, and get the hell on out of here. We have bigger plans called Thomasville. Thomasville, Georgia became known as the winter resort of the South for Yankees in the late 1800s. And given that this Yankee is also seeking sunshine down here, I suppose it still is. I'm gonna do the self-guided walking tour, which I love when cities and towns put these together and put them online, because then I don't have to show up at any particular time. I don't have to do that thin-mouthed thing that you do when you're in a group to make yourself look friendly and approachable. And I'm the best tour guide I know, so I mean, that can really make or break a tour, is when sometimes you get a tour guide who's local and they're into it and it's amazing, and then sometimes you get someone who just barely scraped by on their art history degree and is dejected and hates the world, and then your whole tour sucks and you still got to tip them. So this is fantastic, and there's 82 spots to stop. It says it will take me 29 hours to do completely, and give me 29 minutes and a Coke Zero. I will get this done. Let's start at the Thomasville Courthouse. A beautiful building, but the obligatory fountain on the side has the real fun. Tradition in Thomasville states that if you are elected to office here, you get dunked in the fountain. That's either a quaint continuation of history or the locals' way of reminding their politicians that misuse of their tax dollars will result in a communal drowning. In search of the ladies' room, I find instead a 4-story, kinda creepy staircase and not one no trespassing sign. This is by no means a public building, and it's not on the tourist map. There is no signage that says, please come and walk around here. But if you put original hexagonal tile and a tin tile ceiling, that is basically like mailing me an invitation to come walk around your building. So this was once the Freemason building, and the architectural details are like, okay. We have to be quick because I don't think I'm supposed to be here. But look at the original, these old glass knobs. And then, I mean, just the woodwork, the molding on the door casings, the depth. And then up here, see those push-out windows? Those are called transom windows, and they're for ventilation. And they've got the original hexagonal tile downstairs. The floor is creaking under my feet. It's so old, this building. The ceiling has the original beadboard. Oh, this is just so awesome, and made all the more exciting by the fact that I'm pretty sure I was not invited up here. Let's go. Every hallway was dead quiet, a little too quiet. And I don't know what in the hell was going on this floor. After hitting a few creaky stairs, I recruited a sidekick to brave the top floor with me. This is where the Masons held their meetings, and where the banisters come right out of a Harry Potter movie.
I would never admit to it in public, but underneath these chandeliers, I twirled. I actually twirled.
Now you all know that I have a certain place in my heart for tin tiled ceilings. I put one in the Babe Cave, I put one in the Babe Bus. This is breathtaking. I mean, just rest your eyes on all that. Here's why these are so special. One, we don't do them anymore because it requires artistry and time and money. But two, when developers and renovators come into these buildings and they fix them up, they tend to take down the tin ceiling tiles and then they just sell them off. And so you can find like maybe 1 to 20 if you're lucky, but to see this many, a whole room, and not only a tin ceiling, but also a coffered tin ceiling. And coffered refers to the beams that are also covered in tin. This much detail and preservation, plus these lights, I mean, I don't know what it takes to be a Freemason, but I would like to submit an application because if this is where y'all are having your meetings, I feel like I should be your next Grand Poobah.
I don't ever get tired of taking photos, but Thomasville almost benched me. Everything is a good photo. The city has done such an outstanding job of preserving their buildings that every single one of them has a story that you can still experience. Like this boutique. Now, I can't afford clothes like this, but with a gracious please and thank you, I got permission to look up into their skylight. This was once the Thomasville National Bank, and that unusually large hole in the ceiling was where the vault once was. They could have covered it up, they could have removed it, but that's not how history should be treated. I stopped by the train station that's now been converted into a restaurant, a small church where Jackie O took refuge after her husband, our president, was murdered, and walked the residential streets blowing through hard drive camera storage space until my little legs felt like they were going to fall off. The tires growling down the original brick streets provided background music. There are no fancy, all-inclusive resorts here, and no big acts filling up stadiums. Thomasville doesn't need them. The show here isn't on a stage. It's in the wood, on the walls, and written in the countless stories through all the little architectural quirks.
So in retrospect, it actually doesn't say that it's a walking tour. It just says it's a self-guided tour. Maybe you're actually supposed to drive to all 80, 85, 89 destinations, but I'm spent. I would need another day here. But I've got places to be, things to do, blah, 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 country to see. So I need why is Coke Zero not sponsoring this trip? Good God. I'm done. I'm done. Thomasville versus Roman. Thomasville versus Ginger Spinster, you win. It's stunning here. I would commit at least 3 days because there's just so much to see. It's like, remember that video game, The Sims? If they did one for beautiful little doll houses and put them all in one little space, that's what Thomasville, Georgia is. And it whooped my ass. I've got to get back south to Florida for a reunion of two very important people who actually inspired the Babe Bus. So I've got to go. So let's take down the secret squirrel Reflectix and get this show on the road.